Today's video is on how to multiply and divide trinomial fractions. That's a complicated way of saying, how do I do this? Okay, so it's called a trinomial, probably for reasons that you don't care about because it has 1, 2, 3 things. Okay, so the first thing to start off with is we could just go straight into multiplying this guy times this guy and then just get a really big fraction or big factor, or probably a quadrinomial. Or we can break these parts up into smaller bits and cancel out some things. So we have to multiply maybe like an x minus something times this. So in general, if we can cancel out things, it's a lot easier. So let's try and see what we can reduce this down to. So let's turn this around. So we have it on the order of x squared first, then the x, then the number. Because right now it's a little funky. So let's rewrite that. It's going to be minus x squared plus 2x plus 15 over 3x minus 15 times 3x plus 3. Actually, let's keep this part away for now. Let's just focus on this part. So, first thing to note, when we have a negative in front of all this, it just makes it a little bit messy. So let's factor out the negative. So let's rewrite this as negative and then parentheses x squared minus 2x, right? Because then when you take out a negative, double negative becomes what it used to be, the positive. And then again, the plus 15 becomes minus 15 over 3x minus 15. Okay, and then we want to simplify this, or we want to break it up into parts, like different parts. So we're going to factor it. So we're going to ask ourselves, what two numbers give us 15 when we multiply it, or negative 15, and then when we add those two numbers, what gives us 2? So let's figure out the factors for 15, and it's going to be 3 and 5. Because one of these is going to have to be negative, and when we add them together, our result is going to be negative 2. So that means the larger one needs to be negative. So we're going to have negative 5, 3. So this will be rewritten like this. X minus 5 times x plus 3 over. And then let's see, what can we take out from this to make it simple? And maybe so that it matches like something like this. So I think we can match this form like this, because we've got 3 and 15, and if we take out 3, we can make this x minus 5. And the good thing about that, we can cancel out this guy, we can cancel out this, so we're just left with minus x plus 3 over 3. So I'm just going to rewrite that just so we can remember the proper one. Sometimes I forget some parts, so it's just good to leave it in a clear form. Okay, and then let's just box it. Okay, so that's the left side at its simplest form. See, that's a lot easier to multiply, right? We could even just go and multiply right now. But let's just see if this also has something else that we can reduce it down to. So let's write it again. 3x plus 3 over x squared plus 2x plus 1. And right off the bat, I can imagine this taking out 3. So let's do that. 3 times x plus 1. And then all this, we have to figure out what, when we multiply it, gives us 1. And when we add them, gives us 2. So it's going to be 1 and 1, right? So that means that this is going to get factored into x plus 1 over x plus 1. Awesome. So we can cancel out this guy and this guy. So let's just do that. Cancel. And then the simplified version of that is going to be x 3 over x plus 1. Nice. So now that we've simplified these two into these, let's multiply them together. So let's multiply negative x plus 3 over 3 times 3 over x plus 1. Cool thing, we can cancel out the 3's, and then we're left with negative x plus 3 over x plus 1. And that's it. That is our final answer. So basically, before you start multiplying this and that and this and that, we're going to want to figure out how to make these into like, I'm going to consider this like the basic format or like the broken up format. So once they're broken up, we can see if we can cancel anything. And then that makes it a lot easier, right? This is a lot easier to combine with that. And then same thing with the other side, break it up, cancel what you can, and then bring the new versions, the new simplified versions, and combine them. And that's how you get the final answer. Okay, so that's how you multiply these fractions. What do you do if you have to divide them? Well, to be honest, it's basically the same thing. The only thing that's going to be different is that we're going to be dividing. And the main thing to think about is this. If you were being told 6 divided by 2, that would be 3, right? Because 3 is half of 6. So that means that 6 divided by 2 is the equivalent of 6 times 1 over 2. Right? Because half of 6 is 3. So that means that when we have, oh, and then also, technically 2 can be written like this, 2 over 1. So to go from dividing to multiplying, we just flip it. So we're just going to flip this. We're going to bring what's up top down below, and what's down below up above. So if we're going to rewrite that, let's just rewrite this part for now. So the x squared is going to go on the bottom, minus 5x plus 6, and on top you're going to have 12 minus 3x squared. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's simplify this. So what can we take out from both 12 and 3x squared? We can take out 3, so let's do that. And then we're left with 4 minus x squared. And then this. The next step is, how can we break this up and this up to different factors? So this is going to be perfect squares. If you ever have just a number minus the x squared, and you don't have anything in between, like the 5x, 2x, whatever, that usually, oh, and if this one is a squared number, then that usually means that it's going to be a perfect square. So what is the square root of 2? And what is the square root of x? And then we're just going to do this minus that times this minus, or this plus that. So this is going to simplify or break up into 2 minus x times 2 plus x. If that's confusing, I'll go ahead and explain that later. I'm just going to note that for down here. Okay, and then let's break up the x squared minus 5x plus 6 into something else like this. So what two numbers, when we multiply it, get 6, and when we add it, it gives us negative 5. So the multiples of 6, like think of are 1 and 6, and 2 and 3. These add to 5, but if we're going to multiply them to get a positive 6, that means we're going to have to make them both negative. So it's negative 2, negative 3. So let's do x minus 2 and x minus 3. Cool. Okay. The only thing is this. It doesn't look like we can cancel anything because we have x minus 2 here. This looks similar, but it's 2 minus x. So let's do some tricky spy work. We're going to make this guy transform. We're going to make this guy look like this, x minus 2. So I'm going to rewrite it as minus x plus 2. Now the only thing that's different from this form to this form is that we have a positive here and a negative here. We have a negative here and a positive here. So that's the opposite. So we can flip it by taking out a negative. And then the x becomes positive inside, and then inside the parentheses, the 2 becomes negative, right? Because negative, negative becomes a positive. Negative, positive becomes negative. So that is the new version of this. So let's rewrite this guy and bring it down and say that this is equal to 3. Actually, negative 3, because I'm going to bring this negative and add it to the one on the outside. X minus 2. X plus 2. All over x minus 2. X minus 3. And then cancel, cancel. So what we're left with is negative 3x, x plus 2 over x minus 3. Cool. Okay. That's part of it. That is this, when we've taken out the x minus 2 from both top and bottom. Okay. We still need to simplify this. So let's bring that down. 6 minus 3x over 6x plus 12. So these are all multiples of 3. So let's take out 3 from it. So let's take out 3. And we get 2 minus x over, if you take out, you can take out 6 in this. We don't have to just take out 3. Let's go big. Take out 6 plus 2. Cool. Okay. Same situation. We have x plus 2, but we have 2 minus x. But look, we just did this, right? 2 minus x is actually this, which is actually this. It doesn't help us to cancel it, but it might be helpful. So let's just change it for now and see if it becomes useful later. In general, it's better to write things with x first, then the number. Like that's just like the general order, right? Like it's the biggest x, then the second smallest, second biggest x, and then with the least amount of x. So let's just rewrite that as negative 3 x minus 2 over 6 x plus 2. Okay, so it's going to be a little tight here, but let's just remember it's this times this, because we've already flipped it, right? This guy, when we're dividing it, we flipped it to become this. So now we can just do this times this, because we did this whole thing where we're like changing the division sign to multiply means we just flip it. So this is the flip version, which simplifies down to this. That. I'm like, where is the circled version? So that's the simplified version. So let's just combine them. Let's do negative 3 x plus 2 over x minus 3 times negative 3 x minus 2 over 6 x plus 2. Okay, this is looking good now. Now we have x over x plus 2 and x plus 2. So if it's on the top and bottom, it's the equivalent of 1. So we can cancel it out. Cancel. And that's about it, because the 3's are both on the top, so we can't cancel them. Okay, so let's combine everything on the top and everything on the bottom. So negative 3 times negative 3 gives us positive 9. And what's left is negative x minus 2. I don't think it's negative. I think I just wrote that improperly. Let's take out that little negative. I was going to say that looks weird. Okay. Over 6 times x minus 3. Okay, one last bit. 9 over 6. We can simplify that. We can take out a 3. So let's take out 3 from both top and bottom, and that becomes 3 over 2 x minus 2 over x minus 3. Boop. Okay, this is our final answer. All right, let me highlight it. Da, 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 da. Boom. Okay, all right. Cool, that's it. To multiply and divide fractions like this, step 1, is if you have division, flip it. Step 2, once you have this, try and simplify it into these different parts. That way you can cancel out things. Step 3, once you have everything canceled out into a more simple form, then multiply them. And then once they're all multiplied together, still see again if you can simplify. Always simplify, because life is better when it's simple. All right. If you found that helpful, let me know. If you didn't find it helpful, let me know. Just be nice. And if you have certain questions or problems that you'd like to see, put those in the comments. I'd love to see what you're interested in learning. And I'm thinking about doing a live session sometime, so look out for one of those. And I'll answer any questions that I'm able to do that are in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, or pre-calculus. So look forward to that. Until then, enjoy your day and have fun. See you later.